Hey, how's it going, guys? Thought I'd give you guys a quick update on the Grand Prix. As you can see, I've got the motor kind of torn apart, and it's coming out. Yep. So this is the original motor I put in the car. It is an L36 motor, and if you're not really sure what that means, it means it was not intended for boost. And I ran it on 20 psi, and I usually run it on E85, and I had it on 93 the other day because I was coming home from a road trip, and I got tired of trying to find E85 everywhere. And usually it's not an issue. I've done this just fine so many times, but this one time I was not watching the gauges. Don't know what the AFRs were. Don't know what the knock retard was either. So, giving it the beans, she popped the piston basically. So I chipped the piston. Piston number 3 is gone. So now I get to pull the motor out, and luckily I have a spare motor sitting here all ready to go. This is an L67 block. It came from a Buick Regal GS. Actually, my old Buick Regal GS. It has about 225,000 miles on it. But the pistons are stronger in this motor. It has no issues. It's got great oil pressure. These things last forever, so I'm going to go ahead and put this one in here instead. And I get to replace the heads because it needs the L36 heads on it and the L36 intake too, because this is the supercharged intake here, by the way. This is where the blower goes, and it needs to get this one on there. So that's what I'm going to do now. So even though I blew the motor, we're gonna get this one in here. It's going to have stronger pistons, stronger rods, and then it's going to have a bigger throttle body in there too. We're going to do some little porting and polishing here to the heads. Hopefully these are the heads I'm going to be using. I actually already pulled the supercharged heads off there. The main reason for that is there's a difference between the supercharged heads and the L36 heads, which aren't supercharged. You can see here, this is the L67 intake here, and it has no ports for the injectors on the intake. And that's because they're in the heads. Whereas the L36 intake, this is the upper, would have them on the intake manifold itself. And you can kind of see that inside of this intake here. There's an injector port there, and there's one more right there too. So I'll have to swap that intake and heads over for this car. I'm just going to go ahead and show you the L67 heads right away here. And this is what they look like. These are the ones that came off that car. And you can see there's a injector port right there. It's kind of dark, but hopefully you can see that. And another one there. So this one has the ports on the heads themselves. So I cannot use these heads with my fuel rails. So I'll have to go ahead and swap the other ones over. So that's what I'm doing here. Got a nice little engine stand here this time too, so I can kind of work on this and have some nice leverage on here to kind of work itself off. And that's the update for now. So I'm going to go ahead and start finishing to pull this motor out here. Got to pull off the exhaust manifolds and disconnect the bell housing, take off some of the wires and the accessories, and she should be good to come out, and I can go ahead and swap her over. This is going to be a long build though, because with the whole coronavirus situation, I cannot get parts that quickly anymore. I need to order some parts. Postal service is taking longer, so I'm not going to be able to get everything done for a while. And it's not a big deal because I'm going to be pouring these heads in the intake anyway. So that gives me more time to play with that anyway. So hopefully this should come out better in the long run. All right, well, I've got everything disconnected from this motor. The transmission is disconnected. Motor mounts are unbolted. Just got to pry out that bolt there. Exhaust manifolds are off. There's a turbo sitting right there too. So she's ready to come out. So I'll go ahead and do that now. And should be pretty smooth. Haven't had any issues yet with this thing, so she should be good to go. And that'll be it for tonight. And I guess the next day I'll start pulling off balancer bolts, which should be a nice little fun pain in the butt. Because this one will not come off, even with a 2-foot breaker bar. So I might try and get this started to make this thing come off. But that'll be an adventure for tomorrow, I think. But we're going to go ahead and pull this one out. Well, the motor's out now. And there she is. This motor's actually pretty clean looking. You know, aside from all the rust. Sweet. Alright, we'll set her down tonight. And get started on swapping parts over tomorrow. Should be fun. Well, it's next day now, and I've got the other engine in the car right now because I need to get the balancer bolt off, and I cannot get enough torque on this thing without twisting the motor somewhere. And I just don't trust this engine stand to be able to handle the amount of torque I was putting onto it. So I put it in the car here, and this bolt will just not come out on that balancer. You know, this guy right there. I managed to break this breaker bar. So that was fun last night. So today I get to go get this replaced. Thankfully it's got a lifetime warranty, which should have a lifetime warranty. We'll see if they let me get it replaced during the coronavirus situation. So I'm going to try and do that today, or right now actually, and maybe come up with a better idea of how I'm going to take this off, because I'm just going to keep breaking these breaker bars. The next one's not going to be stronger, so maybe I'll figure something out with the starter or something, but this is the fun stuff. Alright, went to Lowe's today, got a new torque wrench. Hopefully this one lasts a little bit longer, but I'm doubtful, so I'm going to try this a different way. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to just place the torque wrench on, or the breaker bar on the harmonic balancer, and I'm just going to let it prop against the frame somewhere, and then just hit it with the starter and see what happens. So that should do it. Starter can put out a little torque, so that should work. Alright, so I've got the starter connected now. Got some battery cables connected too. My breaker bar is set right there against the frame, so the motor is going to turn clockwise. So as it tries to go clockwise, the bar is going to come up there, and it'll hit the frame, and it should not get moved over any further. So this could go really well or just really bad. I'm thinking it'll be okay though. So I guess we'll see what happens. I've got my goggles on just in case shit hits the fan. But we'll see what happens. I got my little wire here. It's connected to the starter solenoid. And I'll just touch the positive cable here, and this should trigger the starter here. So, get my glove on. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and give this a shot. And this thing should go ahead and crank over and let go. Okay. Something's not right. It won't be the corona that kills me. It'll be the breaker bar flying through the air. I'm going to tighten that up. Okay, around like 5 or 10 or something like that. This should do it. Holy shit. Alright, this is pretty unbelievable. Well, if this doesn't work, I guess I'm gonna get the torch out. This is ridiculous. Yep, torch is coming out. I'm really just running out of ideas at this point. Ooh, I think that did it. Yep, that did it. Sweet. Alright, so the motor's out now. I've got it back in the stand here, and the bolt is now gone. This is the big one here. This is that guy. What a pain in the butt. I'm glad it's out now. Now I can finally move on and get stalled by something else. So the balancer in this car has some really odd sized bolts on it, and I don't have them apparently. The balancer puller kit I bought doesn't have them in it either, so I had to go ahead and order some. And again, because of all the coronavirus stuff, the delivery times in this are ridiculous right now, so I'm not going to get that until later in the week. But I can go ahead and pull this one off though. These ones are just a little bit different. This is the F-body style of balancer here. So the threads are different. It only has one set of ribs for the pulleys. So this one should be able to come out right away here. This one only has two different bolts holding it on there. So you can see I got two on there. And what I had to do here in this is shove another bolt inside of there. That way this can press against that other bolt inside of there, rather than just pushing it into the crank itself and damaging the threads there. So that'll let me pull this out here. This one should come off easily. It's been off like 5 times before, so this should be a pretty quick and painless thing here. Yep, 300. Alright, and she's out. And that's a bolt I shoved in there. Cool. Go ahead and disconnect these things. Now the whole point of me doing this is so I can get this front balancer and timing cover assembly off. Oops. I goofed up there. And once I have that off, I can put this one on here on the other car. And I need to do that for a couple of reasons. The biggest reason would be I need to get this port on the other one, because I have this one threaded with pipe threads versus what is on the other car. All right, now that I got that balancer off, I'm gonna go ahead and take off the heads and take a look at the damage on this thing. I know for sure piston number 3 is done, and that would be this guy right here underneath this one. I'm curious if there's others. I know for sure that one's done. It's probably just really that one. And then that'll probably be it for this video. Here's that balancer pulled off the car, and it's basically the same as the rest of them. It's just a little bit smaller because it's for the F bodies, and a little bit more of a solid unit, it looks like. And I can't pull that one off yet, but I guess we'll see what that looks like when it's off. But here's the difference in the size of bolts here. These are the two of them. So this one's for the L67 with the 2 pulleys on it, and this one's for the L36 from the Camaro. Here you can see the damaged head. You see all these scrapings in here. That's probably all just pieces of piston. This head is probably fine, but I don't know. We'll think about that. So here's the left bank of the block. These pistons all seem like they're okay. I don't see any issues with these ones yet. These all look fine. And no cracks here or anything yet, so these ones all look great. This full side's fine. So this side made it out okay. But coming over here, this one looks okay, but this is the one that we had that damage on. And you can see that the piston ring is exposed And this isn't looking too good. This one looks okay. But, you know, the motor ran okay still. It just was missing this cylinder completely. Misfiring on this one all the time. So, I mean, this motor's no good in that piston. So I could just replace that piston. But, you know, I have a whole other motor over here. And it's going to be stronger than this one anyway. So might as well just go ahead and run that one. And that will be the quickest and cheapest way to get this back on the road. Because every shop around here is closed right now. Because of the coronavirus. And I don't have tools to replace the piston. So I thought I'd go ahead and show you guys the difference between the two motors here. So this is the L36 motor. The difference is this one has different pistons, different connecting rods too. And otherwise though, they're basically the same motor, the same block, the same crankshaft and all of that there. Really the only two differences are the pistons and the connecting rods. So this one is a higher compression motor here. It has a 9.4 to 1 compression ratio, where this one has an 8.0 to 1 compression ratio. And this one is actually built for boost. You can see the pistons have a little bit more of a dish to them, whereas this one is pretty flat compared to that one. So this one has a higher compression ratio because of that. And there's different lengths too in the connecting rods, I believe, as well. So, but this one here is meant for boost. It came with a supercharger on top of it from the factory. So this one has a little bit stronger pistons, a little bit stronger connecting rods. Generally, these motors are considered to be unbreakable, at least with the stock bottom end. I don't think people have found a limit for them yet. But these came in front-wheel drive cars though, so the biggest limiting factor there is the transmission. I think the record is around 800 something horsepower with these things. And you know, that's stock bottom end, nothing changed to it at all. So there's definitely a lot of potential here, so we'll see what this one can do. So this one should be a lot stronger for this car, and it should make this thing a bit of a ripper. And a little bit more reliable too, so it'll have less chance of breaking the piston again. With that, I think I'm going to leave it off there for today. The next couple videos will be me building this motor back up, taking this balancer off, a bunch of the other details like that too. And after that, we'll go ahead and put it in the car. Probably be a couple videos of that, so we'll see what happens here. We're all in quarantine, so there's not much else to do. So I figured I might as well make a video because I'm waiting on parts anyway. And this always takes more time to film, so it's not a big deal if I'm just waiting for parts anyway. So hopefully this was interesting to you, or maybe helpful, or maybe you're just bored out of your mind, and maybe this might be interesting in the future. But with that, I'm gonna leave it off there. So if you like what you saw, please give it a thumbs up. Let your friends know. I'm gonna try and do a few more videos here with this thing, and hopefully this is interesting to some people. And hopefully I'll have a GoPro or something like that soon. This is all being done with my phone right now, so stay safe out there.